and welcome to the show. We start this week's FailRace episode with Dark Lord on GTA 5 trying to parachute on to their submarine and, well, misjudging it. Yep, they did not get the rise and fall of the sub correct, but then they are frozen in a very cartoon-esque like position, the game not quite knowing what on earth to do at this particular moment. Gunblade Lad up next, also on GTA 5. Now, they have got a ramp truck. Always a good thing for getting police vehicles out of the way, or, in this case, stealing one. I mean, it's a remarkably good shot to manage to get the van to balance on the roof. Not only that, they actually managed to get it down the road, flipping a couple of cars along the way, and the van is still sort of stays on the roof. It does eventually get knocked by another van, and that would then slide off the side. But it is actually, yeah, there was a hell of a balancing job done right there. The Pats fan up next, also on GT5. Now, they are waiting for someone to come pick them up. So they're kind of just running around on a random bit of road. Sometimes it happens. You've managed to get yourself killed and you haven't got a vehicle or whatever. And you're waiting for your friends to turn up and, give you a ride. The thing is, that car, well, that would turn up. It would turn up rather spectacularly at high speed, bounce off a cliff. I mean, you couldn't do it better if you tried particularly. That's a hell of a jump and a hell of a amount of speed. And suddenly, car to the face. Well, I mean, at least there's a car there now. It's an improvement, even if it might have killed you along the way. Jetta Cat up next on GTA 5. They're doing one of the known unknown races where your vehicle changes different ones around every lap, every checkpoint on. This one, they've got a drag race to the line between a monster truck and a ramp car, with the ramp car going for an unusual overtaking attempt. Can't say there'd be any other combination of vehicle you'd actually manage to make that one work in. There's another monster truck would cross the line in third. Yeah, it turns out going underneath did do the job. I'd love to have seen how close the finish was. Sadly, we don't get a leaderboard to see the actual times right there. But it's a good way to pass. Anyway, Nebula is up next on Cyberpunk. Now, they are pulling up to a mission or whatever, go to get out of their car, and, well, I'm not even quite sure what that attempt was in terms of getting out of a car. The animation just all got very confused, and they got out of the car in a very strange way, and, I mean, they're out of it. It could have gone worse. Just bizarre. Skull is next on GTR2. Now, they are heading down towards a chicane in this one. Go a little bit too fast on the way in, and the Vipers decided to go for mini a front flip. Yeah, a little bit more on the brakes is going to be needed, I think, through that section. We move on to a set of Corsa next with some good old super touring cars, and, well, Thruxton Curbs have had enough for a few cars. A Honda, this is right on board with, went over. There's a Peugeot in the background that went over. I think one of the Renaults did as well. The car initially following just managed to make a big old roadblock down here. It's kind of confused everything. Curbs are mean, and yeah, I mean, Thruxton Curbs launch cars up on their side a fair bit, not quite normally that much. Kirby is next on Grid. We've got a race of Koenigsegg's going on. Quite an expensive race this one would be. And unfortunately, as we head around the next corner, one of the AIs has had a spin directly in front of the player. Never mind though, because it turns out that car can act as a scoop if it needs to. Little is up next on Dakar. They're racing with one of the quad bikes, gets things a little bit wrong, clips a rock, and that's a lot of spins. That is a great many spins for a little quad bike. Yeah, they almost got away. They bumped one rock, almost got away with it. The second one was not going to happen. Yeah, ouch. Good thing the rider got Wouldn't want to try and hold on to that while it was doing all that. Mad and Beck is up next on Street Legal Racing Redline, and they're doing a mission where you have to try and get away from the police. Okay, I say easy enough. It's a straightforward enough goal. However, as they are whizzing about, they manage to go a little bit too fast for the game rendering stuff in, loading stuff in, and that means falling through the floor. Now, that's not ideal normally. However, it does have an added bonus. You see, if you fall through the floor while the police are chasing, well, it's a good way to get away from the cops. the only real damage done to the car is the front bumper's a little bit scuffed, and as the Golf-style vehicle tumbles its way through the floor in this one, it can spin around, it can get up to 320 kilometers an hour, almost got to, falling around down there. But the mission, that was completed. And of course, when you complete the mission, not only, well, have you done it, have you got the money, you also get teleported back to the garage. So it solves the falling through the floor problem almost immediately. Honestly, accidental, but highly, highly effective in terms of getting away from the cops. And finally, we have SteelGuns on Pacific Drive, who has found something weird. You see, with their vehicle, if they flick the windscreen wipers on and off, it makes the car accelerate, continually accelerate, in fact, as they go along. Now, this vehicle's not exactly supposed to be a crazy fast car, so it turns out, yeah, if you go a lot faster than you're supposed to, you have some very big accidents. Pacific Drive is not exactly, a high-speed racing game, per se. So, yeah, flicking the windscreen wipers on and off and making the car go to warp speed does make it somewhat difficult to drive. I mean, that time around, it ended up upside down. You can kind of warp the car and fix all of that one. I mean, it could be useful. It could be a useful oddity if you used sparingly. But yeah, if you keep doing it, I mean, you can actually watch the I think it's the rev counter on the car. You can actually watch it go bizarre as the wipers are flicking. It keeps going round and round, and it goes it's sort of a complete loop as it smashes into a train carriage now. I mean, it's very difficult to control it when it's doing it, but it is something that I didn't know could happen. I think that's about the best way to sum it up. But there we go. That is going to be it for this episode. As ever, if you have clips, we do always need more clips for this series. If you want to submit clips, you can via a Google form. There'll be a link to it in the description of this video. All the rules and how it works can be found on there. That, though, is going to be it from me. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.